Okay, so I'm just documenting how to fix missing finger joints from mixamo. This is a more mild case of one, where there's only one missing finger joint, but more commonly, you only have the thumb finger joint, and you have the finger rig for the whole hand as one. And the reason for this kind of thing that occurs is the fingers tend to be too closely spaced together. So to fix this, you just have to spread the fingers apart. Now there's two methods. One method is the longer method, and it'll work no matter. And the other method is a very quick method. I'm going to show you both methods real quick. The quick method would work in this rig, no problem. But I'm just going to give you an idea of how the longer version works real quick. I'm not going to do the whole process. So essentially, we want to start with our original mesh, not this mixamo one, because there's no point starting with the mixamo, because we're going to have to bring it back into mixamo later. So I'm just going to delete this guy, and we'll go back to the original mesh, which is right here. Okay, so I'm just going to hide things that are not necessary for a sec. You'd be seeing. Okay, anyway. So essentially here what we have going on is we gotta click on the character, let's go to edit mode, let's go to select faces, make sure X-ray mode is off, and in mixamo the only finger it couldn't recognize properly was the pinky joint. So all you have to do is go in here, go inside the pinky joint, go to tools first, go to options, make sure mirroring is on. For some reason, my version of Blender, mirroring for selection doesn't seem to work right now, but mirroring for editing does. So actually, mirroring is not going to help in this process for me, but it might for you, to do both sides at the same time. So go ahead and select something like that. Then that actually worked pretty good. Usually, because the fingers are usually closer together, if this is an issue, you have to do a whole lot more selecting and deselecting. So like shift, selecting what you want, and then let's just see if there's anything that we don't want real quick. Honestly, it did a really good job. We're normally... So basically, you go around to your mesh and you just get anything that still needs to be selected. Like this. And note, this is the long method, because if you had to do 4 fingers like this, and if the fingers were... yeah, if they're being closer together, you'd have to figure out what part of the mesh belongs to which finger. Okay, so essentially here, all you have to do is move the finger over, and it's giving me some kind of issue. It's because snapping's on. So if we turn off snapping, it should probably work now. So if you just move that a little over, and then you rotate a little, and then you move it a little bit more over. Honestly, that's pretty much all you have to do. You wouldn't have wanted that selected, and you would have wanted interesting. This is something that I didn't realize, but it looks like this stuff wasn't selected and moved correctly. So honestly, it looks like you only have to select the uppermost ring of stuff that you want to move. So It's not something I hadn't even realized till now. You only need to select a ring around the finger. Closest to the joint. Oh, no, it's actually not the case. You have to select most of the finger. I think because, yeah, no, because those weren't selected, the topology's off a little bit. So technically I'd want to go back. I'm saying Control Z, and you'd want these selected before moving, because you see how the topology got off. But essentially, this kind of workflow is the long way of doing it. It's the completely free way of doing it too. And it'll get the job done. So once you have a bigger space, just a little bit, you can bring it to mixamo. It's good. Okay, so the other method. Other method's faster if there's multiple fingers that have an issue, and if this faster method doesn't work 100%, then you can always do the method that I showed you to fix anything that's remaining. Okay, so what we do is we're going to use an add-on called AutoRig Pro, and then we're going to fix it with AutoRig Pro, and then we're going to get rid of our skeleton and go to mixamo for the mixamo skeleton. Okay, so AutoRig Pro, I have it here. We selected the character and eyes, and then we're going to Smart here. We're going to get selected objects. We're going to turn on shading, this version only. Let's go add neck, base, chin, base, shoulders, wrist. I find that AutoRig Pro actually works better at recognizing things usually than Mixamo. Mixamo is more standardized for motion capture data, so it's easier to get going with that. Eventually I'm going to switch over completely to AutoRig Pro when I understand how to get the perfect rig for mocap animation from Rococo. Needs some fiddling. Anyway, so let's go ahead and hit go now that we have those points aligned. It just takes a second. Okay, one thing that I noticed that for Unreal Engine and Mixamo, well, Unreal Engine mainly, maybe Mixamo as well, they have 4 joints here, so I just get in the habit of changing it to 4. So basically, click on the middle one, limbs, change it from 3 to 4, hit OK, then you hit match the rig. There's probably a few other things I have to change in that kind of process to get it working with motion capture data completely smoothly. Probably. Okay, so now we go to skin. We go to object mode. Click on the character's body. We go in, get the eyes. This rig you're seeing here, it's from Faceit. It's not from AutoRig Pro. Faceit has a better rigging system for face and shape cube generation. Okay, so now that we're in skinning, we just go to the last thing we select is one piece of the rig, which selects the whole rig, I believe, and then we set bind. And we just wait a second. Okay, so now go to pose mode, and now we have these controllers and controllers here, and I find that, let's see, the mesh is right here. You can hide the mesh. Okay, you want basically one thing it does is it kind of makes a copy of your mesh, the eyes and the body as selected, so you can hide the original mesh because it creates a new folder group for it. And then if you need to move things around, you can. So if I hide this, you can see the whole control rig. So these are the top of the finger joints. So if you wanted to move an individual finger, you just click this, and then you'd rotate, and that would rotate the finger whichever direction, left and right. But I find often I don't even have to do that. I can just click, and then these controllers as well. But honestly, I can just click this one here usually, and this will most likely get the job done in most cases. To space them out. See, it spaces them all out. I'm just gonna hit Control Z though, because I forgot to do one tiny step, which is under Tools when I have the rotation, going to X axis mirror so that both sides are evenly spaced out. And we just need a little extra spacing. We don't need a lot to get everything working correctly. Okay, so now we can go back into object mode. Let's actually go back to pose mode for a second. And let's go to Auto Rig Pro again. And then we go to Rig. And then we go Set, Apply Pose as Reset Pose. Because we're going to get rid of our rig. And when we get rid of the rig, it's going to go back to the reset pose, which is with the hand spacing a little bit off. But this is going to make what our current state of the hands and everything be the reset pose. So you go ahead and apply the reset pose. And it just takes a second. So I'm going to show you the export settings that I like using from here, and I'll explain why. Yeah, okay. So everything's good here now. So we just go back into object mode. Oh, best to save out a version at this point, so in case something goes wrong, you can fix it. This is one of my test characters, that's why it's so many different versions, creating a workflow. Okay, so you click on the body, click on the eyes or whatever you're bringing into Mixamo. So I'm just bringing those into Mixamo, not all the hair and stuff right now. And then you go to File, Export. You don't want its armature, because that's the rig that we just created, and we want to use the Mixamo's rig, and it's not going to rig correctly, or at all if it has a rig. So then selected objects. You want to have, you don't want to add leaf bones, and you want to change it to faces if you're moving it to Unreal Engine, because it will make things smoother. And you want to apply, you don't want to apply the modifiers. Applying modifiers will get rid of any shape keys you have, which is what you need for the facial animation, which you want to keep those. And then you go to export. So I have a 2 Mixamo folder, and I'm just going to call this version 2 because my first version didn't have all the fingers correctly. You export this, and at this point you just bring into Mixamo like normal, rig it up like normal, and then if you want to make sure all the bones are there, so you bring Unreal Engine and you just want a quick visualization, or you want to deal with bringing more clothes and stuff onto your character in Blender before you bring it to wherever else you're bringing it, you can just bring your character back into Blender from Mixamo, and you can check to make sure it has all the joints like it does here from the Auto Rig Pro. So essentially what I like doing is I like creating a new folder, and I just call it from Mixamo right here. And I should show you, shouldn't I? Yeah, I should show you the process. instead of just explaining, because there is one step that you probably don't know about. Body only. Yeah, I'll just show you the whole process. It looks like I already have one of these folders and it's up here. So let's see what we got going on. Let's go to upload and just gonna locate that real quick. Okay, so you go ahead and drag I just want to make sure I saved in the right location. I'm pretty sure I did, but let's be sure about it. Let's go to export, FBX, and that's to mixamo. Okay. So it should be right. So we'll try it, and we'll see if I'm uploading the right version. So, you know, mixamo just takes a minute. Essentially, I'll just mention this. The reason why my eyes don't have a texture beyond the gray texture and stuff right now is I've replaced the eyes in this character to be photorealistic eyes for Unreal Engine. I just need to bring the textures from Unreal Engine onto the character when I bring it into Unreal Engine. Okay, so we're going to line up the chin. So it says right wrist. Right side of the body would be this side when you turn. You know, this is my right. That would be his right. So right elbow. Right knee. And then the grind. And that should work. And we want the 65 bone structure, because that'll give us all the fingers. And it'll just take a second. When it rigs, one easy way to tell just visually from mixamo, if the hand's most likely rigged correctly. Is that the right character? I don't think that's the right character. Oh yeah, that was a different character I was working on earlier. Okay, that's why I was confused, because the naming system looked like it was off. Okay, yeah, as you can see, I have a lot of characters I'm working on. What character was I working on? It was the priest, because he has a beard and stuff. So, no, that was the version that was missing a joint. So this one's the one we want. Let's go to upload. Essentially, the process is the same exact thing as we were just doing. And it'll just take a second. There's one step when you bring it back into Blender that I just wanted to show you if you're familiar with the mixamo already. So, you know, if you're familiar with mixamo, you might want to skip towards the end of the video, but not at the end, to relate the textures. Okay. Okay, so that's all good. I'll just take a second, then we'll download it. Okay, one thing I like doing is just copying where it goes, Control-C. That way we can just paste it in once this is done, which will just take a moment. Yeah. There's actually two things I want to show you, now that I think about it. So, you see how the character's fingers have a little spread when folding? that means it's most likely rigged correctly. If it was just like that and not like this, then you'd have an issue probably. Anyway, so you can just go ahead and hit next, download, because we're going to download T-pose. If you try animation and you need T-pose again, you can search for T-pose here and it'll be right there. Okay, so let's download. And I'm just going to paste its location. And let's click on this. Get rid of the version number because I know it's going to work this time. And we can even get rid of the word face it technically, because why keep that? And let's call this V2. And we'll save that. So V2 is version 2. So then we go back to Blender. Make sure you have this folder selected, the folder you want to bring in. That's not the same as your other character. Import FPX. Let's go to from mixamo. This is the priest character. Yeah, that's correct. Here we go. Let's import it. Just take a quick sec. Okay, so as you can see, the textures are missing from your priest character. There's an easy way of fixing that. You want your priest character selected first, which it's selected on import, so you don't need to worry about that. Then you hit shift, then you select the character with the textures. You're doing all this in object mode. Control L. Then this links aspects, so we just want to link the materials. So let's go ahead and go to our original character that's with the Auto Rig Pro. Let's go ahead and hide the body mesh. And we can see that the eye material is still missing, the gray one. So we just want to fix that. So let's go ahead and click on where the eye is supposed to be. And there it is. And we click on the eye with the gray material. Control L, material. So then let's click on just the eye. We see here, we can hide it. And then we go to the other side, click on the eye, click on the eye with the material, Control L, click on material, again all in object mode. And then click on just the eye mesh and go ahead and hide that. And then now at this point we can actually just hide the Auto Rig Pro character, which should be probably under Character 1 folder. Just hide that whole folder. And the only thing you should probably have showing at this point is the mixamo folder that you created. That way you can expect that the hands got rigged correctly. So now we have all 5 joints. Finger joint, rigs, etc. Okay, so at this point, there's one other thing I want to show you. If you had made eyebrows or eyelash mesh or hair, you just want to align that up, and I'm going to show you an easy way to do it kind of quickly. So my other character, version of the characters here, we just want to hide its body mesh, and we want to hide its eye mesh and its other eye mesh. Okay, so we're going to want to bring the eyebrows, the eyelashes. I have 2 different versions of eyelash. Actually, one version I don't want. Okay, so the eyelashes, the eyebrows, the hair, and the beard. Okay, so I'm just gonna duplicate that real quick. So Control C, Control V, and then they should be all selected. If they didn't go into your mixamo folder, you should drag them in. They already pasted in for me, so I don't need to worry about that. And go ahead and hide your original character. So now, oh, I think there's something else I wanted to bring over to. Yeah, there's more to bring over. This character, I have its beard broken into multiple pieces for Unreal Engine. Special way of rigging it, which, oh no, I don't have it broken in multiple pieces. I thought I was going to do that, but I actually didn't. So that's actually fine, I think. So we can go ahead and hide it then. I was going to break it into multiple, but this character actually didn't need it. Okay, so you select everything except, you know, the main character that you just rigged.
I'm on it.
And that was Suri spying on me. Okay, so then let's drag out from the corner here another version of this window. And with the move tool and this all selected, let's move down to the feet so you can get like a really close view of where things are going to be moving. So this is your viewing panel and this is your moving panel, so you can get a really good idea of what's going on. So I try to move it, and it's actually moving correctly. Normally snapping is on, so you want to turn snapping off on all the objects that you're trying to move, because otherwise you'll probably run into an issue. Often I'll have to raise things if I'm going from mixamo, but it looks like the alignment's actually pretty good. And then you just want to get in close in here, see, and it looks like it just has to go a tiny bit back for the lashes. And let's just see what the rest of it looks like. Okay, it looks like it works. The eyebrows could maybe go a tiny bit forward. Probably too much. Yeah, too much. Okay, let's try going one notch back. We'll see. Yeah, one notch back's probably good, as long as it's touching mesh just slightly. Looks like it's not touching, but it is close enough where I could probably leave and it'd probably be fine. But I'm just gonna try to move in one more tiny notch, so I'm just gonna zoom in a little, so maybe I can get less movement, not more. Okay, and whatever that is, I think that's probably good. Yeah, whatever that is. Another thing you want to do is inspect the hair, and if there was penetration of the hair in the character's body, one thing I like doing, which is completely optional, but if you're bringing as a groom system to Unreal Engine, it can be helpful, is click on hair mesh, which isn't a mesh, it's a curve system in this case. And then when you go to scale, the first two categories, I like scaling it up just one tiny bit. Because in Unreal Engine, often getting an exact perfect fit is hard if it's not overscaled a tiny bit, the groom system. Okay, so that's it for this video. I have more videos which I'll show you how to use Faceit. I'll show you how to get both mesh hair and dynamic groom system hair in Unreal Engine and photorealistic eyes on a character in Unreal Engine as well. Okay, so just don't forget to save, and that'd be that.